Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good night, children of the popcorn. It's the Baron here from the Evil Popcorn Podcast. And I have with me
Mr.
Mr.
Popcorn
Popcorn.
practicing
Say
his
hello to the children.
smile to smile. His smile, smile. Haven't seen it
That's
yet, going to
good.
see it on Sunday, but we're not discussing that tonight. Good evening, Baron. Yes, I am well, thank you, and good evening, children of popcorn. What are we talking about, though, tonight? Baron, we are very close to home with
Tonight
this
we're going to
one.
talk about.
I'm down the
Oh,
road,
yes,
basically.
100%.
It's down the road from me. Yeah.
Yes. So we are talking about another creature feature, which I'm kind of making a, a habit of, it seems. Bait, otherwise known as Bait-3D, otherwise known as that movie where they got sharks in a shopping mall.
Mhm. That they did.
They did,
That they
yes.
did.
It's from the year 2012,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and it is, yeah, it's sharks in a shopping mall.
Where is it set,
Um,
Baron? Where is it set?
it's not specifically said that it
Okay.
is set in Coolangatta slash Tweed Heads. However, it
Mhm.
is very much set in Coolangatta slash Tweed Heads. The shopping centre that they use for the exterior is in Tweed Heads. I've actually stayed in that block that shopping centre is in since this movie came out, and that was the set of shops that we would go to get our groceries for the week or however long we were staying there. In that set of shops, it's not actually a sort of downstairs. They mess with the interior a little bit. It's actually an Aldi.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Okay.
but
Okay.
there's no sharks
Okay.
in the set. Special.
Excellent. And to put that in broader terms, they're children from overseas. That is basically southeast Queensland. We are in the state of Queensland. We're in the capital, Brisbane. And that is our little, it's called the Gold Coast. And how would you describe it in
Yeah,
American terms? It's very Florida, Miami, I think.
Florida.
Yeah, Miami-ish
Yeah,
would
very
be the,
Miami.
yeah, would be the closest equivalent. And yeah, and it's
Yeah,
an hour's drive, 2 hours of traffic is bad from Brisbane.
yeah, yeah,
And in South and East
yeah,
Queensland and
yeah,
Australia
yeah,
in general, that is down the road. You Americans understand this. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Next door.
yeah, yeah. It's beachfront. Yeah.
So yeah, so
Lots of
this
plastic surgery and bikinis
yeah,
down at the beach, skyrise hotels. Yeah, yeah.
lots of sun bleached hair and surfies.
Not a
Yeah,
fan.
and that sort
No
of.
offense. Not a fan.
Not a fan.
Nah, not for me.
No,
Not
so
my sort of
good.
place. Yeah, yeah.
So good. So it was filmed in 2010. It was released in 2012. It didn't do particularly well in Australia, but it did really well in China.
Really interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
Most of
Okay.
the 35, 32, 33 million US that it made in China. It's about 24 million it made in China.
Wow. Do you have a budget there? Production budget?
Yeah.
Do you have the production
Budget
budget?
was the budget was 20 million.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
about 20 million. 20 million US.
Yeah,
And in
that's an
2010,
acceptable.
2011 dollars, that we were slightly above the American. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It was
Okay.
about
Yeah.
20, not quite 20 million Australian.
hmm hmm Yeah, that is an acceptable profit. They were reaching for the stars, I
Yeah.
think, with this movie, in terms of how
Mm.
successful they were wanting it to be. But that is still very acceptable. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not a loss by any means. It's not a
Yeah.
waste of time.
Yeah.
No, no.
No, no. So what are your initial thoughts, Mr. Popcorn?
Okay. Um, yeah, I've never heard of this movie. I think I mentioned briefly that I heard it was mentioned on Deep Cuts on Colors of the Dark podcast. And Rebecca Kendry, she really likes creature features, like ridiculous ones. And when I heard the title Bay 3D, she may have mentioned it's a shark in a shopping mall stalking people. And I was like, well, how does that work? And so I basically forgot about it. And then we did the random thing on the internet to choose a movie. Yeah, we came up with this one. So the universe
Mhm.
obviously wanted me to see this for some reason. At
Yeah.
first, I was worried. And then it was like, they've somehow pulled this off. They have somehow pulled this off. So yeah, no, I didn't
Yeah.
hate it. It wasn't a waste of
Okay.
time for me. Yeah. So that's all I'll say for now to you.
So we've got a couple of connections to previous films we've done.
What's your history?
Um,
Barrett, what's your history?
my history.
Yeah, what are your initial thoughts before
So
we spoil the children away?
of course. So back in the day, they did a panel for this at Supernova that I attended, and then
Mhm.
went to see the film at the cinema on the back of that on a free pass that
Sure.
was given out at the panel.
Mhm.
Really enjoyed it. I've since bought it on DVD, which is how I watched it, and it has been a recurring date night movie for myself and the Pirate Queen.
Oh, okay. Nice, nice, lovely. Yeah, there's quite a bit of heart in this, definitely. I could see how that would be
Yeah,
suitable for fans of creature features, certainly.
yeah,
And this certainly is a creature feature, and it's starting to bubble up in me an appreciation. I get it with creature features
okay,
because it really pays tribute to the classic adage in horror movies that it's drama with a monster, and if you take the monster out and it's still a good film, it is therefore a good piece of cinema. You know what I mean? And not
yeah,
going to go
yeah,
as far as this, but it was definitely hinting towards it. And but point being, I'm starting to appreciate that in
okay.
creature features because I've seen Godzilla -1 recently. There's Train to
Minus
Busan's a
one.
stretch, but Godzilla -1's another good example. And there's the host as well. Yeah. The creature features with a hell of a lot of heart, really good dramas with monsters. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So yes, it is a creature feature. But we do have a couple of notable connections back to previous
Yeah, yeah,
episodes.
thank you.
So one of the writers of this, and he was going to be the director, but there was a clash, is Russell Mulcahy, obviously who did Razorback,
Yeah.
Highlander, for those people that are going along at the side.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and we have Xavier Samuel, who is the main character of this, was also Brent from The Loved Ones, who was our final
Yes.
guy from The Loved Ones.
Yes. Look at his lips, people, and look at the eyes. You can see it there.
Yeah,
He's got a
yeah,
home and away disguise on, but it is him.
correct. A lot of people in this are very home and away.
Yeah. Yeah, totally, totally. Um, it's for a mainstream
So I
Australian market, definitely. Are they going for an American market on this?
think they were going for an Asian market actually, based on the fact that it was a Australian
Mm,
Singaporean
yeah.
collaboration.
And you've got two, they don't last for the whole movie, but they're prominent supporting characters at the start, up to about the
Yeah,
midway point. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Similar to what
Yeah.
they did with the Meg.
With the what? Sorry.
The Meg,
Okay.
the
Okay.
Jason Statham
Yeah.
film
Yeah.
with the
Yeah. Yeah.
giant
Yeah.
shark.
That's so cool. Yeah. Done.
Yeah. Um, so yes, so the director is a gentleman by the name of Kimball Rendell, who
Okay.
hasn't done an awful lot of stuff, but notably, there is a film called Cut from 2000, which is a found footage slash slasher film, which I'm now going to try and source and have a look at.
Yes. Yes. We must find that.
The other writers, other than Russell Mulcahy, were John Kim, who hasn't got a real lot of horror links, and Duncan Kennedy, who was also responsible for directing Deep Blue Sea,
Oh, really? Okay.
which is another
Okay.
shark film.
Yeah, that was rather sizable, rather prominent in its time. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's got a 5.2 rating on IMDb. It's got a 46% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's got a 2.5 stars on Letterboxd.
Hmm. Hmm. I can see why. I can see why. I think it deserves a little more than all of that. But I do understand. I do understand. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, interestingly, Russell Mulcahy was going to direct it as well, but he was working
Mm.
on the Teen Wolf TV series at the time, and he couldn't do both. So yeah,
He's a creature guy, isn't he? He's a monster man.
He does like creatures.
Yeah,
Really does like
does.
creatures.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, sorry, I was incorrect. It was shooting in 2011, not 2010.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
A lot of the budget of the film went into three animatronic sharks. They were trying not to use CG where they could. However, the budget necessitated that they did need to use some CG. And it's probably the only parts of the film that take me out is when you can see the obvious early
Mm.
noughties CG.
It's not that's not necessarily their fault because across the board, I've seen that in various movies I've rewatched lately. Those effects did not stand up at all across the board.
No,
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 no, they didn't. And but you don't know that at the time, of course. It's
no.
innovative at the time. Yeah.
Also, it was shot in 3D, so some of the transfers that you see will be a little bit murky
Yeah.
because of the transfer
Yeah.
back to 2D.
I'm glad that tech didn't last, and that's just personal. I just
Yeah,
didn't vibe
I
with that stuff at all. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so the cast of this, we've already mentioned Xavier Samuel, who plays the main character Josh, was also from The Loved Ones. He was in the Twilight movies as well, and in a 2015 modern retelling of Frankenstein, which I might try and track down.
Oh, okay. Cool.
We have Shani Vinson as Tina. She's in a horror
Hmm.
film called From a House on Willow Street. We've got Adrian Pang and Ki Yu Wu, our Asian cast there. No real horror links with them, a lot of TV work. Then we go
Hmm.
down, we've got Alex Russell playing a character called Ryan. He was in the movie The Chronicle, which was the teens that find a meteor and then can fly.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen Chronicle.
Yeah. And he was also in the 2013 Carrie film.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We've got Phoebe Tonkin plays a character called Jamie. She was in The Originals, which is a TV show, Vampire Diaries, and The Secret Circle, all sort of science fiction
Yeah, yeah,
slash
yeah, yeah.
supernatural TV.
Absolutely. Okay.
Martin Sachs plays Todd, no real horror links, but he's been on a lot of Australian TV. Julian McMahon plays a character called Doyle, who's a bit dodgy. He was in Charmed. That's about the length we can
Oh
get.
yeah, yeah. I remember him in Charmed. Yes.
But he did also play Doctor Doom in
Okay.
a in one of the Marvel films
Okay.
with John Griffith as Mr. Fantastic.
He has a real smarmy dickhead
Yeah, yeah, he
vibe to him,
plays
doesn't he?
Army
Yeah.
really well.
Yeah. I
We've
think he
got
said, was he in Nip Tuck? Is that him?
yes, he was also in Nip
Yeah.
Tuck.
Yeah, I thought so. Thought so. And his character's a piece of work in that show.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. He
I'm sure
plays
I
he
don't
plays
know him personally. I'm sure he's fine, but yeah, he
yeah
plays an asshole really well.
plays
Yeah.
dickheads really well.
Yeah.
We've got Dan Wiley playing a character called Kirby, who was also on Wolf Like Me, the TV show.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
Kariba,
yeah. This guy. Hmm.
Kariba Hine as Heather. No real horror links. A lot of TV. Then we've got my mate Lincoln Lewis, son of Wally Lewis, playing a character called Kyle. He's been in a horror movie called Voodoo Lagoon, and he was in After Earth with Will Smith.
Okay. Okay. And when the war began, I enjoyed that. That kind
Yes,
of
yeah,
spooked me. They did actually spook me a little, surprisingly.
it's very good.
I thought so. Yeah, I thought so. I thought there should have been more of it, definitely. Yeah.
The older security guard called Bob has been played by a wonderful character actor called Damien Garvey. He was also in the movie Love and Monsters, and he played a couple of episodes of Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Oh, nice.
Uh,
Liked that
Richard
show a lot.
Richard Brancatisano played a character called Rory. No real horror links, a lot of TV. Chris Betts played Lockie, and Lockie was in a movie called Contagion in 1987,
Hmm.
which is a horror film. Looks kind of cool. And last but
Um,
not least,
that one, Contagion, became very popular at the start of the pandemic.
of course it did.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
streaming, and yeah, everyone clicked on it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. That and what was the one? Outbreak with the
Outbreak as
monkey.
well. Yes, yes, yes. That was yeah, yeah.
And
And
last
Tiger
but not
King.
oh
Sorry.
yeah. Whatever happened to Tiger King?
I think he's
I
still
never
in
watched it.
jail.
I
I
never
think he's
watched it.
still in jail. There was a second season. I didn't bother with the
Oh,
second season. It's like, no, no, there's no pandemic. There's no need to click on this.
Yeah,
So yeah, whatever. That guy was horrible to him. It's Tigers.
yeah,
Fuck him. Yeah.
yeah. Fucking. And then last but not least, Simon Edds plays a lifeguard, and Simon Edds was on a TV show called Bite Club, which I believe has vampires in it.
Yeah, forget her name. Yeah, it's vampires. I've had association with the producer, director. I forget her name,
Filmed
Asian
up the
woman
coast,
from
yeah.
Brisbane. Yeah, you know who I mean. Kim Un, I
Kim
think.
Hoyne. Yeah,
Yeah, there you
yeah,
go. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. That's her project. That's her project. Yeah. Very cool.
So yeah, so he was in that. That's the only horror link for that one there. So yeah, so children, we are going to start to spoil this. So if you haven't
Mhm.
seen Bait or Bait 3D, however you want to, what you want to do it, go away, watch it, and then come
How can
back
they
and
watch it? This would be a good
uh
point to throw this in. Yeah.
so it is available in relatively low quality on YouTube. I watched it on DVD because I have the DVD.
Hmm.
It's
Uh,
on Tubi. You might need a VPN to
yes, you
watch
do.
an overseas version,
Yeah.
or there are relatively cheap rental or purchase options
There you go.
through the usual suspects, Apple,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah,
Amazon,
there
all that.
is. Yeah. Apple and Prime, but you have to pay for it on Prime. It's not a free one.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it,
Oh, Plex as well. It's
yeah, there
available,
you
I
go.
believe, for free on Plex.
Okay. So yes,
Uh,
go away and see
yeah,
you when you come back. Enjoy.
but with Plex there will be ads if you watch it because it's not really free. Now go away and watch it and then come back. Are you
You
back?
back?
Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay. Baron, back to you.
Yes. A little bit of trivia, just at the start. So we did mention Russell Mulcahy was going to direct. What he was
That's a
doing Teen
shame.
Wolf.
That's a shame. No offense
Uh,
against the director who came in.
yeah,
Let's actually say their name. No, against Kimball Randall, but
yeah,
it's Russell. It's a giant
yeah.
shark. Would it? Yeah. Mm.
So just for those people, three different Pomeranians we used in the movie to play the character called Bully. There was a swimming dog, a barking dog, and a running dog.
Okay. I'm with you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So good. Despite the film taking place in an unnamed basement supermarket, the real-world location located at Coolangatta in Queensland, Australia, is an Aldi supermarket and is a ground-level store. And I've been there, so yeah. Go. And one other thing I will mention, production of a sequel called Deep Water about a plane en route from China to Australia crashing in the Pacific Ocean was scrapped in March 2014 due to uncomfortable similarities to the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370.
Really?
In May 2020,
Uh,
however, it was announced that Gene Simmons, along with Arclight Films chairman Gary Hamilton, had formed Simmons/Hamilton Prods, with the first film from the company being the previously shelved Deepwater, with Rennie Harlan set to direct. And by December of that year, i.e., last year, Aaron Eckhart and Ben Kingsley were shooting scenes on the film in Gran Canaria, with prior shooting done in New Zealand. So there will be, the sequel for this will be out. It's called Deep Water.
oh, the only
So
thing
it's
that I
sharks
was
on
in
a plane.
the only thing that I was unhappy about in all of what you just said there, Baron, was the name
Yeah.
Gene Simmons. Because
Yeah.
can he stand that man? I want him to change his name.
Oh, of course. Of
Yeah,
course. Yeah.
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 And that
Well, I
that's the
think
only thing concerning because and also in terms of taste, that guy's ridiculous. Sorry, Kiss fans. But he's ridiculous. Hmm.
I
But
think he's just the
otherwise,
money. I think he's just the money.
yeah, hopefully that's it. Yes.
Yeah.
And when he comes in and rambles his nonsense, they go, okay, we're going to ignore all that and then carry on just like once upon a time. Some suit told Peter Jackson to lose the dwarf in Lord of the Rings, true story.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. No.
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 Uh, the one thing that I will point out to anyone, the accents are not consistent.
No. No, they are not. It's
So yeah.
okay. It's okay. But no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, let's get into the
Okay,
plot.
hold on. Can I say this about the whole thing just
Holding on.
before? Okay. Because this kind of sums it up how I kind of feel about it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Um, yeah, at the start, okay, there's budgetary type things. They're creating a gigantic happening, you know what I
Mm.
mean? And to pull that off practically, and you can tell where this is shot, who's involved. We live in Australia. We know this
Yeah.
is not $200 million that you would need to effectively pull off what they needed to pull off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I get that. There's other things they threw into that, though, making it somehow biblical. Did you catch that?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
why? And then there was other, because there's heart to this movie and there is good performances and people understand the
Yeah.
characters well. And the
Yeah.
dynamism, the character relationships are very strong, very
Yeah.
strong. And you actually end up
I agree.
rooting for them. That's what took me by surprise by the end. Yeah.
You cared about the characters.
Yeah, I did. But there's this packaging that the characters, that the whole movie comes in. There's this style to it that doesn't really work so well for me. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I'm rooting for the characters, though, and their situation
Sure.
and their plight. Does that make
Yep.
sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the end of it, that's why I say it wasn't a waste of time. Um, but yeah, we'll get into it. I think that sums it up for now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Good.
yeah.
Good.
Okay, cool, cool.
The best review I found for it, and this is not necessarily a 5-star review, but this is the best review I think that encapsulates the film, is the bottom line is just enjoy the badness of this film. Don't think about it. Don't take it seriously. Just
Yeah,
enjoy it. That's what it was designed for.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'd agree with that. I would agree with that. Yeah. Um, because through that, accepting it as a good, bad film, there is actually very strong elements of a good film at the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
talk about comparing this to Rogue as well, because I think there is
Okay.
some definite comparisons
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and Razorback.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I will point out at the start of this as well, I have a massive, unreasoning fear of sharks.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Like, if a swimming pool could conceivably hold the shark from Jaws, I am always nervous.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Um, the caveat to that is the more ridiculous a premise the shark movie is, the less scared of it I am.
So Jaws scares the shit out of you then. Yeah.
Jaws is white knuckle cold sweat.
Question.
Sharknado is a comedy.
Question. Because
Mm,
everyone's heard about the efficacy, the importance, the foundational tools that were, developed pretty much in Jaws for slashes, et cetera, et cetera. So there's
yeah,
Jaws. What's the
yeah.
second shark movie? What's number two?
Number two, scariest.
Yeah, of shark movies.
I would have to say now, the recent one, the Sharks in Venice.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Because I've heard people go, wow, that was actually good. What the fuck?
yeah.
That
No,
was
it's
actually intense. Yeah.
it's really good.
Okay. Okay. I'm
It's
watching it.
it's
I'm
a
going to watch it.
hair for me. It's a hair away from Jaws.
Wow. Okay, cool. Thank you. You know what I mean? Because everyone has
Yeah,
always talked about Jaws. What are the other
yeah, yeah.
ones that are actually you can take seriously? Yeah, that's my
Previously, it
caveat.
would have been probably Deep Blue Sea.
Okay. Is that the one with LL Cool J?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, I'm with you.
basically playing LL Cool J.
Of course. As always. As always. Yeah, yeah.
But that's also the one with Samuel L. Jackson, who's giving this wonderful Independence Day speech that they're all going to get out, and he just gets bitten in half by a shark. It's amazing.
Because he always does
Uh,
that speech, of course.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. In some form or another. Yeah. Okay. Shall we get into this
Can
thing?
we plot this?
Yeah, we'll plot this.
Okay. Alrighty. So the movie opens with hungover lifeguard Josh, played by
Mhm.
Xavier, being woken up by his workmate and friend Rory, played by Richard Brancatisano. Um, so they very quickly set up their relationship as friends, and also Xavier is going to be his brother-in-law because
Yeah.
he proposed to Rory's sister, Tina, played by Shani Vinson. Um, and he gets offered a disgusting looking hangover cure, which I think
Yeah.
might have just been tea or something. I don't know
Yeah,
what it
something.
was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And because
Oh, oh, sorry, I just picked that up. Foreshadowing. Is that foreshadowing or is that a reach? In the glass, it's murky. It's, it's got the plant, the little, you
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
for what's coming. Yeah.
yeah. Because he's under the weather, Rory decides to go out and set a buoy for Josh,
Mhm.
which I'm not quite sure what they were doing there. Like I've never heard of um, lifeguards setting a buoy. Uh,
Safe zone.
yeah,
Designate the safe zone, demarcate the safe zone.
but yeah, mate. It seemed like it was already out there. Like he only went out on a surfboard. It's not like he
Yeah,
was in a boat or anything.
I
So
don't
that
know what
was
that
just a bit
is.
weird.
Yeah.
But it does get Josh out into the middle of the sea, where he is in danger, obviously, because there's a movie with sharks in it. We cut back to the sand. We can see um, Josh and Tina discussing their upcoming move overseas to Singapore. So
Because
there's that
they're
link back to
married.
Singapore
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So Rory's out in the water because yeah, he says Josh is too hungover to do his job.
yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So Josh is out in the water. We then cut to a swimmer who gets killed by the shark.
Yeah. And lots of CGI straight away.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because
yeah,
I mean, I hear their intentions and but automatically there's just that
yeah,
classic naughty CGI straight away.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
prepared for that if you are just listening along.
Yeah. I mean, the sharks look okay, but they don't look
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. The problem I had with this whole section coming up, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'll let you get to the end, then I'll speak. I'll let you get to where it actually
Sure.
happens. I'll get it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Alrighty. So that alerts the lifeguards to the danger. They start sounding alarms, getting people out of the water. Josh goes and grabs a jet ski to go out to save Rory.
hmm
He gets there not quite in time, and Rory gets pulled into the water, and Josh is unable to save him before he is devoured, and he disappears beneath the waves while Josh has his necklace in his hand that you then see him wearing throughout the rest of the film. So like the guy
Oh yeah,
disappears
yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
water,
yeah, yeah. Okay,
pulls the thing, and
okay.
you see him throughout the film with that.
Yeah, of
I
course,
think
of
he's got the
course.
wedding ring.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. Nicely spotted. Um, the reveal, the build up to this whole thing was very quick. It was very
Yeah,
rushed, and it
yeah,
was
yeah.
very
It was
in your
almost a cold
face.
open.
Yeah, and the pacing could have been much better because that's not to do with budget. Yeah, you
No,
could have just paced this better. Yeah, for
yeah.
me. Because when we're
I'd
thinking
almost,
about Jaws, the start of the reveal of the shark of Jaws at the start of
yeah.
that movie, you know what I mean? And
I'd,
you've got
I'd
an
almost have
obvious
done this.
research point. Sorry, back to you.
That's okay. I was just saying, I would almost have done this as a flashback.
Hmm. Sure. Yeah. Keep it, and then you could have made it sharp, smaller, shorter cuts, but sharper impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 Okay. So then we get a time jump. We get a time jump of a whole year.
Yeah, it does set up Josh's guilt about
Yeah,
Rory, though, well.
yeah,
It does do that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. And he and Shani's character have that conversation later in the film as well that kind of brings
yeah,
it all to the head
yeah,
and all
it
sorts of stuff.
does. Yeah, yeah. The plot beats are all hit where they should be hit in
Yeah.
this movie. Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you, do you think they followed Save the Cat? Are you not have you not heard of Save the Cat?
That's a game or a movie?
No, no, no. Okay, so um
Sorry.
no, no, it's all good. It's almost a formula. So this guy in Hollywood was watching films and then realized that certain types of films like this would hit certain story beats and have certain shots at particular times to get that kind of
Okay,
blockbuster feel.
okay.
Um, And it's really prescriptive about you do this at this point, you do this at this point, you start with this kind of
Okay,
shot, you do this kind of shot at this point.
I know what you
Have a
mean.
look. Anyone out there that hasn't heard of Save the Cat, look it up. It's fascinating, and it's from a cinematic perspective. It shouldn't make sense, but it really does.
Does the new Quiet Place movie do that? Because I haven't seen it, but don't they literally save a cat in that movie? The cat becomes a huge part of that movie.
I think they do follow
Yeah,
it at least in
yeah.
part.
That's just an aside. I'm sure I've heard it. I've heard that before under another name. I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I
yeah.
get entirely what you mean. I think there's definitely, yeah, I would say yes. I think they
100%.
were trying to break into the American market with this one. Yeah.
Yeah, so they follow
Um,
the form.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's somehow it's not too in your face. It doesn't smack you in the
Yeah,
face with it. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
All right, so yeah, it's a year later. Josh is now working in a supermarket in Coolangatta, stocking the shelves. He has a friend called Naomi, played by Alice Parkinson. And this is where he runs into Tina again. She's back from Singapore. She's got a new boyfriend, who's called Stephen, played by Ki Yuwu. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And at the same time, when this is happening, two teenagers, Kyle, played by Lincoln Lewis, and Heather, played by Kariba Hine, are parked for a makeout session downstairs in the car park.
And that's Bully as well, of course, behind
Yes,
me.
and
Yeah,
Heather's dog Bully, who is a
with them.
Pomeranian, is in the car with them. Then we go back upstairs in the supermarket. There's a young woman, Jamie, played by Phoebe Tonkin, is caught shoplifting
I like
and
Jamie.
yes,
Yeah.
temporarily evades the security guard by meeting up with her boyfriend Ryan, who works there, played by Alex Russell. And the store manager Jessup, played by Adrian Pang, catches up with her with the security guard. He also fires Ryan, who actually offers to pay for
Mm,
whatever she's stolen, but he's not
mm.
playing it. And the police have been called. It's at this point that we're introduced then to Todd, played by Martin Sachs, who is not only the police officer, but he's also Jamie's dad.
Yes. And Jamie and Ryan are an interesting couple because Jamie
Mm.
is, rebellious teenage girl. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's going through that stage. And Ryan's the outcast.
yeah,
He's the quiet outsider. Yeah.
yeah.
What does this thing behind me call him? He calls him like freako or
Uh,
something.
yeah, Frico. I think it was Frico.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got the contrast of the couple behind me, bleach, blonde, tanned, yes, etc., etc.
Nice, nice car, nice clothes.
Yeah, Ryan
Uh,
has a combi van, an old
yes,
combi. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the relationship between Jamie and the dad is really good, really
yes,
good.
and well played too. Like
It is
it could have been stereotypical, and it wasn't.
saccharine. It wasn't at
Yeah,
all. No,
no,
yeah,
it was
yeah,
good. I really enjoyed that.
yeah.
At this point, we've been kind of seeing uh, the Doyle and Doyle's partner thing. They are there to do a robbery, but it's revealed through lines that Julian McMahon, who plays Doyle,
Mhm.
is doing one last job to help out someone in his family. And yeah, once he's done, then they're not allowed to come near him anymore. We get a tense
Yeah.
situation with a couple of guns, and Doyle's partner in a mask and a hoodie, and he shoots the assistant manager, Julie, played by Rhiannon Petit. That's she's only really in the start of it. She's only there to be killed by Doyle's
Mhm.
partner.
Mhm.
Uh, I don't think that we had too much of this. Like okay, so
Yeah.
for example, in Wolf Creek, it, the family road trip at the start started to drag a little bit before we got to obviously the killing parts of it.
Okay.
I don't think this part of the film overstayed its welcome.
Okay. No, I do agree with you. In terms of structure, yes, absolutely. And also this part, see, for me, it's when it gets to the plight, to put it for now. Yeah. That's when it started to get good for me. This whole part with the robbery, etc., it was a little bit okay. We're just imitating what we've seen in other movies.
Yeah.
Certainly, I mean, it's Doyle, is it?
Yeah.
He's the featured guy. His the goon, yeah, the voice he was putting on and stuff is now you're just imitating stuff here. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a bit, yeah. Were did you get this role through Star now or something? Yeah, not to get too cheeky. Yeah, so I'm glad for both of those reasons in terms of structure, and didn't really sell it for me that yeah, there wasn't too much of this, because when it got to the plight is when it started to get more juicy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And more
Yeah. I agree.
authentic. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, okay. Now, up until this point, we have had a couple of little bits of nature foreshadowing.
Yes.
So we had the birds and the dogs being like disturbed.
The biblical plagues, man. It gets to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
level of biblical plagues when it
Yeah.
gets to all the
Yeah.
birds and the dead fish and that sort
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah. But carry on.
So this is where the tsunami happens. So there's a ground shock,
Mhm.
and then the water recedes, and then obviously comes back. I do really love a little bit of background extra work that a Surfy did here, where everyone's running away from the tsunami, and he's got his board and he's heading towards the tsunami. Loved that.
Yeah, because that would happen.
Yeah,
That would so happen. Yeah. And I liked the shot of the little kid. There was just the toddler. Yeah.
yeah,
And a wide of just her. Yeah. Sitting down, you
yeah,
see the beach, and the dad picks her up and says, come on. Boom, boom,
yeah,
boom.
yeah,
Yeah. So there was
yeah,
a mixture of just all really good shots, and then there's a black raven flying towards a CGI black raven flying towards the camera. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. What did you think
Um,
of this whole thing? I mean, like, okay, as a Kiwi, I know they happen in the Pacific Island because in New Zealand you listen out on the radio, etc. I know I'm old.
yeah.
Um, for
The wireless.
tsunamis that are happening in the Pacific Islands and that sort of thing, certainly up the
Yeah,
top of New Zealand, which is very much
yeah.
closer than the South Island, of course, to the Pacific Islands. In Australia, in southeast Queensland, is this something that's ever been a concern?
There was a tsunami warning. Um, Probably 10 years ago now. I think there was actually a tsunami out in the Pacific.
Okay.
By the time it gets to Australia, and by the time it gets across the Great Barrier Reef and all that sort of stuff, like
Yeah.
it
Okay.
was 3 inches. Like it
Yeah.
was
Okay.
it was just a
Okay.
slightly larger than usual wave.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. That's what I assumed. That's what I
Yeah,
assumed. That something like this happening here, because it is pretty
yeah,
much here.
yeah.
It's yeah. What did you? It was crazy. But what did you think of the way it was shown on the screen? The
I
actual
think it was really well
ocean
done.
itself. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think it was really well done for the time.
yeah.
Uh,
For the time, absolutely. Big
yeah,
thing to capture,
yeah,
to
yeah.
convey. Yeah,
And
and
like
they.
it was society ending basically, like the size of it.
Mhm, mhm.
I mean, obviously they don't show us how far inland it goes, but you do see when in that last shot when the helicopters are landing, you see that shot of the coastline. You can see like things way off in the distance are on fire, and so it was pretty bad.
Interesting, because you also had Fukushima.
Yeah.
Was that 2010, 2011? Because it was after
Uh,
the Christchurch earthquakes.
yeah, 20. I think it was 2010.
I think it was after the first big Christchurch earthquake in 2010. Yeah, because I had moved to Picton and then I heard the news about this and I was like, what is happening to the earth?
Fukushima disaster, Japan, 11th of March, 2011.
Okay. I wonder, because this is late into production, but if this had any, yeah, influence, any kind of reference point, yeah.
Maybe.
Synchronicity, anyway.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it is basically to that level there, children. If you don't know, Google is big. The Fukushima, and then you're saying that was about 10 or so years ago. Maybe that's the tsunami warning you had because that was a 9 on the Richter scale earthquake under the ocean that started
Yeah, I
that whole
think so.
thing. Yeah,
So,
and that freaked us out because we had just had 7.5 or whatever it was a couple of months before that. Yeah,
yeah.
in the vicinity. Yeah.
It doesn't specify. Well, the other thing too is like there was never going to be anything come from it based on the distance that it was traveling.
Yeah,
It
okay,
doesn't
okay.
specifically state when it was.
Yeah,
But
all
I
good.
remember I worked on the phone, and someone called up and was complaining they got a late fee on their bill, and we said, oh, why? And they said, oh, well, I couldn't go to town because there was a tsunami warning, and it's like, well, sure, okay,
Wanted.
great.
Is there
So
one
yeah,
right now? Pay your
yeah,
bill.
yeah. I think they had more going on than just the tsunami warning, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
okay.
of course, of course, of course. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this is when the tsunami hits. It
Mhm.
floods the supermarket. It smashes through the windows. There's a lot of dead people and a lot of debris. Um, Doyle's partner is found floating in the Doyle's partner is found floating in the water with the mask and the hoodie. The people that have survived take shelter on top of the shelving units in the store, and they're trying to find a way out, but everything seems to be blocked.
I think it's important to mention there's gore already in this movie. Yeah,
Yes.
there's some
Yeah,
strong gore already in
yeah,
this
yeah,
movie. I know we've made it out to be want to break into the American market. Let's make a blockbuster creature feature.
yeah,
Um, would it put it to a mature audience?
yeah,
Would it? It would, wouldn't it? It would cross over
yeah,
PG-13, wouldn't it, with this? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Just having a look now
Yeah,
to
there's a
see
lot of
what the
dead
actual
bodies. There's a lot
rating.
of blood.
Yeah. So for the
Uh,
for the children who want the horror, there's still strong, horror
yeah.
elements to this.
Yep.
Seriously in the gore department. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, we get one of the security guards gets killed at this point, dragged underwater and killed. And it becomes apparent that a great white shark has been washed into the store by the tsunami,
Mhm.
and a broken power cable threatens to electrocute them all.
Yeah. And they're all upstairs
Yeah,
at this point. Yes, on the shelves, water's rising.
yeah,
Yeah, this is the plight part. This is
yeah.
Act Two, basically. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, it's like there's a shark in one part, and then there's like an electrical battery in.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where Donald Trump got it from. He watched Bait.
What's the reference with
So
Trump?
he was Donald Trump was talking about how he was talking he was talking bullshit um at one of his rallies about how he wanted people to make a decision between being in a boat that was sinking that's got a big battery in it or a shark in the water. So maybe he just watched Bait and went, "Oh, there's electricity, there's a shark." I mean, the two
Mm,
kind of go together.
mhm, mhm,
So
mhm.
not to be political.
Yeah. But yeah, yeah.
Yes.
They're fucked wherever they go, basically,
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
moment. Yeah.
Yes. So Stephen, who is the new boyfriend, volunteers to shut off the power. They have that
Mhm.
whole conversation about where it is and all that sort of stuff. They MacGyver him into what is effectively a shopping trolley samurai shark cage.
Shark cage armor thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And also with the shark at this point, they've worked out how to obscure it. Yeah, have the
yeah,
fin just above the water. They see it under the water. And when it jumps out, because at the start it was pretty shark, 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 shark. But now they're actually pacing it out a bit, creating
yeah,
a bit of
yeah,
suspense.
yeah,
When's
yeah.
it going to jump out and get you? Yeah, yeah.
Actually, give me 1 sec. I just got to grab something from another room.
hmm hmm Um, I just wanted to have a look here, children, just to see what the rating for Bait-3D is. Because it's a little more mainstream than usual compared to what we usually do, certainly compared to the Iceberg. Shout out Dorian. Doing Martyrs soon, the French version of Cool. It's an R. An R rating. Did not
Quickly, sorry, I just
expect that.
had to grab my
Hmm?
phone, which got some other notes on it.
That's right. I successfully banned. This has an R rating.
Oh, it does. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. There is strong gore, definitely. And I say would be pretty much for that.
Yeah, yeah. Now the one.
For bloody violence, some grisly images and language. hyphen sex and nudity mild, violence and gore severe, profanity moderate, which earns it an R rating.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. We did get to this, we're at this point where he's gone into the water in the mobile shark suit, but
Mhm.
I will call out my favorite kill at this point um, was the security guard. So they almost get him back to the thing to climb up, and she's got hold of his hand, and I love the fact that she's got hold of his hand, and then the head just slowly bobs away from it.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah.
loved that effect. That
Yeah,
was
that was spooky.
beautifully done.
That was because you didn't understand what was happening at first.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like,
yeah,
huh? What's this is too long, this shot? What have they messed it up? And oh
yeah, yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I have never seen that before. So well done,
yeah.
well done. Yeah.
It was very good. So
Um,
now mobile shark
sorry.
suit thing.
Yeah, the shark suit thing. What do we think?
I really liked it. I'm a big fan of MacGyver. I thought it was great.
Mhm.
Um, I have some problems with the way that happened.
Yeah, that's what
Uh,
I'm leaning towards. If okay, so yeah, we're having a rare political moment. Like how, because how was the the cultural presentation of this? Because
well,
they're going for, as we say, to appeal to an Asian market. Yeah,
yeah,
we have got two, not stereotype, but definitely type characters of the two Asian males. Yeah,
yeah,
we've got the strong, silent, handsome samurai, and then we've got the bedraggled businessman. Yeah.
yeah.
And then we have him dying a samurai's death in a samurai suit. Yeah.
Effectively,
Is
an
it
underwater
is it
samurai suit.
yeah, is it too on the nose? That's my question. Yeah.
No, I think it was nice actually. I think because they let it play and they didn't lampshade it, like it wasn't, no one mentioned off like, oh, we've built a samurai suit or anything. Like they let him have his death.
Mhm.
Um his like yeah, no, it was I thought it was good, but middle class, middle-aged white guy, what do I know? Um
Yeah, where there's always coming from that perspective as well. I think you
yeah,
are right. I think you are right because there is that moment with him and Josh where he talks about how Tina was always thinking of you, missing you,
yeah,
etc.
yeah.
And I think he let go at one point? He basically does
Well, yeah, he
sacrifice
does.
himself.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
However, I when I watched this, it occurred to me that unless they're messing with time, and I went back and watched the scene again. Like when they're providing the oxygen to him through the tube to the underwater
Mhm.
samurai suit,
Mhm.
and they run out of length, they pulled the whole tube back, which they didn't need to do. Like it's only moments after that power goes off.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's
There-
less than 30 seconds has passed.
There's a few editing
Yeah,
temporal issues that pop up here and there. I think
yeah,
that's just an honest mistake with that one. I
yeah.
think I think I'd have to watch it again to be sure.
But you like
Um,
when he lets go of the tube, it's like they've got more room on that rack to move down to hand him more tube. Like he's
mhm.
only a foot away from reaching the cutoff valve.
Sure, but they wanted him to die dramatically, though.
Yeah, well, I mean that was
Yeah,
obviously how it was written.
yeah, the
Uh,
pathos of the scene. But I hear
yeah,
you, I hear you. But I think you are right because there was given that emotional weight, that gravity with the interaction between him and Josh beforehand.
yeah,
Yes, yeah,
yeah, for sure,
yeah.
for
And you're
sure.
right, if they had telegraphed it more and somehow that, some sort of sword symbol came into the scene
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
throws it into the stomach. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. Just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
That's all good. So yeah, so he loses his oxygen tube. He gets to the thing, like sacrifices himself and drowns. Which forces then everyone's kind of sad, so everyone that's left kind of has to work together.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so they try to get Jessup up into a ventilation shaft to go for help. I did like the flood of crabs coming out of the tube.
Oh, but they're crabs.
Yeah,
I read spiders, but no, they're
they did
crabs.
look spidery, but yeah,
Yeah,
they were
yeah. That
basically
makes more
they're
sense. It makes more
crabs.
sense. Yeah,
But this
beach
is
life.
this is the point at which I started noting down every time someone was used as bait, or
Okay.
a
Yeah.
ton of bait could be used.
Just quickly before that, I liked all of the detritus of modern society
Yeah,
from the shopping mall in the water, just useless plastic. Yeah, and there was
yeah,
tons of it. Yeah, and the water, you didn't want to go in there, and they had to go in it a lot. Yeah,
yeah,
that was done well. That was done well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We should mention as well Chekhov's shotgun and taser in the back of the cop's car that we see.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. As
So
soon as I saw it, I was like, that's coming back.
yeah, of course it's coming back. It's a really nice prop that someone
Yeah,
spent a lot of time on.
water's fucking everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, convincing looking. All of the weaponry and that little arsenal Doyle had.
yeah,
Yeah. No, cop. Sorry, cop
cop,
dad. Yeah.
cop dad. So they're kind of marking time. They're like one step forward, one step back. So they don't seem to be
Mhm.
getting out of danger, but they
That
are
happens a lot.
progressing.
Yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much the momentum, how it works. Yeah.
So
Which
this is
isn't
the
bad.
first
It's good. Yeah.
yeah, so this is the first time. So we've got dangling bait. So we're
Mhm.
dangling him from the ceiling. He's basically dangling bait
Yeah.
at this point.
What did you think of that guy, that character?
He was cannon
Uh,
fodder. He was always going to be cannon fodder.
I enjoyed him though because he comes in,
Yeah.
he obviously knew he's a criminal.
Yeah.
Total, untrustworthy, violent, creepy
Dirtbag.
criminal, dirtbag.
Yeah.
But he's silent at the start when he first comes
Yeah.
in. He's just sussing everything out. And then when he starts talking, you want him to shut up. But there
Yeah.
were moments, you knew he was trouble, but there were nice little joker moments, for want of a better term.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he sees the electricity dangling over, then he starts laughing maniacally. Well, what are you laughing about? He's laughing because if that touches the water, we are all gone.
We're all
This whole
dead.
building's gone. Yeah.
He
I
was
liked what he brought to that. Yes.
yeah, he was giving me David Argue vibes from Razorback. So the
Hmm.
Dicko, there's
There
very,
you
very
go.
much very similar sort of character.
Nice, nice. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so we've got Chekhov's shotgun and taser. So yeah, so we're trying to get Jessup up into the ventilation shaft. We've got the crab thing happening. He gets startled and he falls into the water. He grabs hold of the vent. Unfortunately, the shark then jumps out of the water and bites him in half.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I didn't miss him. It wasn't a bad guy. I've just had so many bosses like him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so many
agree.
bosses that just
I
take
agree.
out their life that they felt could have gone better on you. Yeah, and that's what he was there for. But again,
Exactly.
not a bad guy character. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Um, how's the plight of these two? Is that going on in parallel at this point, or am I
It's
jumping
parallel. So
ahead?
we're back downstairs now. So
Yeah,
we go
okay,
back down to
cool.
the parking garage. Kyle and Heather are in the car, but they now can see Ryan.
I love that he's actually called Kyle. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So Ryan has got out of his combi. He's got a torch. He breaks the window with a Phillips head screwdriver,
Okay,
which is
I'm
really
with you.
good.
Yeah, yeah, that was done
He
well.
gets out of his car. So
He's
now there's three of them.
resourceful. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Certainly resourceful. Now we've got the lovely little conversation between Kyle and Heather in the car where he reveals that her shoes aren't actually Gucci. So she's a bit
yeah,
pissed off at him.
yeah,
He's in the doghouse, so to speak, because she likes her
yeah.
dog more than him now.
Oh,
Uh,
from the start, because their
yeah,
relationship is rocky, is
yeah,
one way to put it. Because
shallow.
it's revealed and it's hinted at, I think, throughout this movie that basically she wants more. She wants a sensitive, nice boyfriend, i.e., Ryan. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I was
yeah.
picking up here. And I was wondering if that was going to be something that happened.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, but we shall see. We shall see.
Maybe in the sequel. Um, so so they get out of their car. Ryan is out of his car. He helps them get out of their car, but then they discover that there's a second great white shark. So it's not just one shark, it's two sharks.
If I may, this
Yeah.
is where they get out of the car via Shelley. Yeah.
Heather.
Heather, sorry, Heather.
Yeah.
And then Heather shows herself to be way smarter than Kyle, way more
Yeah.
resourceful. She
By
pulls out her
opening
little
the
nail
the
file
sunroof.
kit and boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
Yeah.
This little blade here, click, open.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I like that. Cool. Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, there's another shark down here. And this is where Kyle throws the dog at the shark so that he can escape.
And it's like, oh, you're done, buddy. As soon as
Yeah,
that
yeah.
happens, it's like you are done.
And so there is obviously Kyle and Heather are now on a break.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I got why he did it. Yeah, because it was basic survival at that
yeah,
point. It was the dog
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
him or them.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, so
yeah,
totally got, but because the relationship was rocky, she's obviously a dog person. Yeah, that's yeah. It was like
yeah.
that's not going to end well for you. Yeah, it's funny. It was funny.
So they have a couple of unsuccessful attempts to lure the shark away. So Ryan joins them on top of his combi van, but the
Mhm.
shark gives chase. So yes, at this point there's another bit of dangling bait. Like he climbs across some pipes over the
Yeah.
water.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I enjoyed
dangling bait.
Ryan cutting up bait off dead bodies
Oh
and
yeah,
not
with
enjoying it.
yeah, no,
Yeah. What was he using?
there's a piece of brick.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Trying to, yeah, yeah. The way it was taken off this, but it was really blunt, and it was
Yeah,
so the gore was good there. The gore was
yeah,
really
yeah,
good. Yeah,
and good
yeah.
sound worked on it as well. It
Good
really
sound
sounded like
work
someone
as well.
hacking off a dead
Yeah.
arm.
And Ryan played it perfectly because he had never even thought of doing something like this ever.
Yeah,
It never came up to him. Yeah. But again, resourceful. He pulls it off.
yeah. Then we get a bit of a bait and switch. So we think Ryan's about to be killed by the shark, but he gets up onto the combi van. Then
Mhm.
then Kyle falls off and is eaten. So it's a bait and switch. I've got here bye bye
Bye.
Lincoln.
Bye bye, Felicia. Yeah.
We go back upstairs um, to the supermarket. So they're coming up with a plan to try and find something to hook the shark with to get it, like to trap it at the end of a length of rope or something.
Mhm.
And they spot the meat hooks in the butchery area of the supermarket.
Yeah. Around this time, their children, when you're watching it, if you haven't already, just let physics, force, motion, all that, just let that go.
Yeah, yeah, don't worry about it. Don't,
Let that go.
don't think
Yeah,
about
yeah.
maths. Don't think about maths. So they get Jamie over to the butcher section. She grabs a meat hook with some meat on it.
Mhm,
They decide to go. They've got some bait now to go fishing for the shark.
mhm.
But the shark doesn't take the bait. So this is where Kirby, played by Dan Wiley, who's the
Okay.
David Argue that we've been talking
Keep
about.
going. I've just got to get something. Keep going.
You're right. Grabs a hook and decides he's going to use live bait. So he grabs Naomi. Um, Quick, while he's gone, um, I'm stuck here. I can't get out. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Like he doesn't even feed me or anything. maybe he's coming. Oh, no, I can see his movie. So he decides to use Naomi as a live bait. Uh, where are we up to? Oh, my
He's
lights went
still
off.
going.
Yes, yeah, we're
Good.
talking about Naomi being used as live bait.
Very good.
Hang on a
Continue.
sec.
Continue.
Okay, Google, turn on the man cave light. Yep. Man cave light on. Okay. Okay, so yeah, Naomi is he grabs her and puts a hook through her shirt, wants to use her as bait, and then Kirby is
Yeah.
revealed to be the dirtbag partner of Doyle.
Hmm.
And he dressed the corpse in his hoodie and mask so the others wouldn't know that he was the murderer. So this was a nice little twist. I liked this. I wasn't expecting it when I first saw it.
Hmm. 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 Yeah, no, it
Um,
was fine. I did not have a problem with it. And I like
uh,
when Kirby revealed himself as a scumbag. I thought he was going to flesh hook Jamie.
yeah,
I thought it
he
was
just
going
put
to
it through
go
his
in.
shirt.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then when that, what's coming was very
Well, then
nice.
Doyle stabs him with a harpoon,
Yeah.
basically, right through
Yeah.
his chest.
Yeah. And
Um,
then with the hook,
then jabs the
boom,
hook into his chest.
Texas Chainsaw style, and uses him as the
Yeah.
bait. Yeah.
Then throws him in the water and uses him
Loved
as
how they
bait.
did that. That was
It
cool.
was really good.
That was cool.
Okay, so Naomi's pulled out of the water as the shark eats Kirby, and it catches its jaw gets caught on the hook.
And then it's,
And
yeah,
it's
it's
trapped.
stuck. Okay. At
Yeah.
this point, what did we think of Doyle? Because he's slowly developing as a type of anti-hero.
Well, I mean, we get that from the very start because he was
Mhm.
doing the robbery against his will. He was doing it to benefit someone else or to make someone else's life better.
He's shown himself to be skilled throughout. He's done this before. He's an
Yeah.
experienced criminal. He's up
Yes.
there. He's not a
Yeah.
goon. No.
Yeah.
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 Did you think he pulled off the anti-hero? Did he have Riz?
Yeah. Yeah. I think he had Riz, Skibbity toilet, yeet, no
Let's
cap.
never do that again. That's my bad. Let's never do that again.
No, I thought he was really good. Now, Julie McMahon played the character really well. Obviously, there was a slightly fluctuating accent.
Yeah.
Um,
And there's an Australian style that
mm,
hasn't properly developed into complete fruition because this is a huge other discussion. Um, Money, location,
mm,
perception for a long time. Where is Australia?
yeah,
Australia and New Zealand, one place, all of that. I know
yeah,
it's changed in recent years, but that still lingers. So there is there is. I don't know if we feel it or you see it, but when people watch this kind of Australian stuff, there
yeah,
is that kind of or you just it's it doesn't make it bad. It's hard to explain. Just sit
yeah,
with it a bit and you get used to it, like I did with this movie, and then ended up
yeah,
actually quite enjoying it by the end. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. If that
yeah.
if
It's
that makes
good.
sense there, Baron. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, 100% it makes sense.
Okay.
Um,
New Zealand suffers the same thing. That's yeah. Also why I say it.
so then we get another one of those emotional beats here. Josh finally apologizes to Tina. They have the heartfelt conversation about how he didn't forgive himself, and she was always ready to forgive him, but then he took
Yeah.
too long, and
And I was always here. I wouldn't have gone
yeah,
anywhere, whatever she
yeah,
said. And then his face, it went from okay to acceptance to you're fucking kidding me. But all yeah, yeah, he's good.
it was
He's
really
good.
good. It was really
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
And then they kiss.
Mhm. Yeah, and not mad at it because it
No,
was believable and authentic, even though it's framed in this wannabe blockbuster. We've got a chip, we've got the self cringe factor kind of package. It was
yeah,
still authentic and believable. So big kudos to the actors.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
big
yeah.
kudos to the actors is what I'll say.
I
Yeah,
mean, it's
and the writing of this because the plot beats were there for them to react to
yeah,
and build their characters upon. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's really easy in a production like this to, wink to the camera and mug for it and make it clear that you're in this kind of film, but they all behaved in a manner that their characters would behave in. They
Mhm.
made the world real without
Mhm.
making it cartoonish.
Yeah, yeah, they did, and that's why it's important to sit with it. Yeah,
Hmm.
if the start puts you off, like what the hell am I watching? Just wait until the second act where they get into the plight. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
is
the
that
second
fair?
and the third
Yeah,
act
yeah,
really bring this
absolutely.
film home.
Yeah, yeah,
So we're getting into that third act now. We're into the sort of the last little bit. So downstairs, we go back to the car park. Bully is found alive, floating on a on half a surfboard. Maybe it's the surfboard from the original surfer.
huh.
Could
Yeah,
be.
cool, cool. I was
Which is
happy when
great.
Bully came back. I was happy when
Yeah.
Bully came back. Never want the animal to die, of course.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bully swims across to them, or he's almost got by the shark. Um, and because up until this point, they've started to get a bit depressed downstairs in the car park, and Bully coming back gives them that resurgence of hope,
Hey.
which gets Ryan to start banging on the pipes.
Hmm. Oh yeah, because she picks. There was a nice little dialogue linkage of all of this,
Yeah,
uh, because yeah, Heather is saying to Ryan, very quiet and subdued, "We're not going to get out of this, are we?"
no,
Because
yeah,
there's a
that's
bit
right.
of that whole vibe going around all of the people at this stage, actually.
Yeah,
And then Bully gets rescued. And I've got a question about Bully as well. And then she goes, "It's a sign. I take it
yeah,
as a sign." Yeah. And then he
yeah,
starts tapping the pipes. Uh, what are you doing? I don't know. Just call it a sign. And that's where Jamie hears it. It's Ryan.
yeah,
It doesn't
yeah,
explain why she knows. Yeah. That linkage was actually really cool.
yeah.
Question about Bully. You've got a
Yes.
good eye for this. He was
Mm,
very characteristic in this when he comes back. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, CGI'd it all.
No, no, no. The dog was the three dogs were stunt dogs.
That's right. Yeah. So this, okay. So whatever dog. So yes. Okay. So none of the three was CGI'd at all.
No, no, no. They did no CGI on the dogs. The only CGI they did was on birds and sharks.
Okay. Very cool. Okay. Bully was great. That at this point when they come back because the shark's going to come along soon. Spoiler.
Yeah, yeah,
And then how Bully was reacting. Yeah.
yeah,
And basically saying, "Get on the boat, come on, come on, come on," with yeah, with the other humans was great. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And I'm just wondering because once upon a time there was a movie called with Jack Nicholson, As Good as It Gets. Yeah, he was crazy
yeah.
OCD, and that
Hmm.
dog. There was 156 touches of CGI on it, and when
Yeah,
you watch it, you go, "Huh?" Yeah, all of the class went, "Huh?" And so I was
yeah,
just wondering, because it can be very subtle.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and not
No,
just a
they
giant
did no
shark
C.
jumping out of the water.
Yeah, no, they did no
Yeah, yeah.
CGI on the dogs.
But that's cool. Good work, people. Good work. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're starting to get everybody together. So they decide upstairs decides to send someone downstairs to rescue Ryan. They only know about Ryan because Morse code.
No, I reckon. No, no, I reckon it's what it's from before, where there was they just call it a sign. It's just that was a
Yeah,
melody of like their song that they
yeah,
share
maybe,
about their favorite song or something. Is what I was picking
maybe.
up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And because Jamie goes, "That's Ryan. I've got to save him." Boom, jump in the water, and that's where Jamie, the the
The daughter of the
vagabond
cop.
little, yeah, the vagabond, yeah, from the
Yeah,
start, has the biggest heart in the world, and
yeah.
yeah, so goddamn loyal. She doesn't even think
Mhm.
about her own safety.
Yeah.
She's straight in to save her man. Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah, for sure,
yeah.
for
She was
sure.
good. She was good.
So yeah, so they come down to try and save Ryan. They discover Heather and Bully are also there. Um, so they're then alerted to the second shark's presence. Josh and Jamie find her dad's car, which has the shotgun and the taser in it.
Mhm.
I did like the shark kill of him underwater with the shotgun, like blowing the blood up through the water. That was a really nice effect.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then they get it takes a bit of time, but they get back up to the supermarket. So everybody's now upstairs in the supermarket. There's no one left downstairs. There's another tremor as they're all swimming towards the
Mm.
entrance, while the main shark, the upstairs shark, is still fighting against the hook.
uh, the Tremors were done really well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and the dad protecting all the children. I've overused the word plight, but fuck it, I'll say it again. The sense of plight, where the stakes were high. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And there
So
are
the Tremor.
many wires dangling into the waters
Oh
at this
yes,
point. Many.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Very
So,
close to the water. So they're all swimming towards the entrance to get out. A tremor strikes, which breaks the first shark free.
mhm.
Then Josh kills that shark with the taser as Doyle is doing a MacGyver thing with the truck jammed in the entrance to make it blow up for some reason.
Yeah. Science again.
Science. Yeah, yeah, science. Floating
Out the
truck.
window. Yeah, just
Yeah,
like a Friday the 13th victim trying to escape Jason out the window.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, breaks a hole in the debris and gives them a way to get out. The survivors all stumble out of the supermarket into the post-tsunami world. Everything's like really damaged. The buildings are on fire. There's smashed up stuff
Fallout,
everywhere.
fallout level at this point.
Yeah, yeah. Then Tina turns to Josh and says, "Well, what do we do now?" And then it cuts to a CG seagull that swoops down low over the water, and a shark jumps out of the water unexpectedly and eats the seagull.
Sequel setup. And now we know that was the intention. Yeah. No, they did all right with this. They did all right with this, all said
Yeah.
and told. What do you think? What do you give it, if I may ask?
I really like it. I have a nostalgia for it that makes my brain want to give it a higher score of like a 4 or 4.5. But I give it a solid 3.5.
Mhm,
Um, like you say, like some of the CG does take you out of it a little bit. The beginning is a little bit clunky,
mhm,
but I really like the second and third act. I really like the performances. The sound
mhm.
design wasn't obtrusive. So I'm going to give it a 3.5.
I concur. Yes, I've come to a 3.5, and I was starting off at a 2.5 when I pressed play. Not soon after I pressed play,
Yeah.
which is the biggest jump I think a movie has had for myself. And it's because of the writing and the performances.
Yeah.
There was good writing. There was production style that hinders things that would
Mm.
potentially turn people off. So I do emphasize just one last time, do sit with it to get to the second or third act, because I
Yeah.
do agree. Yeah, that carries it through to the end and quite satisfactorily. So yeah, it is very
Yeah.
satisfying at the end, hence 3.5. How do you think it stands up to Rogue? Because that is a giant prehistoric basic beastie.
Mhm.
People stuck on a limited amount of space. Just wait,
Yeah.
let's get out of here, get away from this, or we're dead in a certain amount of time. Yeah.
I think the relationships in this transcend Rogue. I think there's better characterization in this. I think maybe because it was going for an Asian market rather than the American market.
Mm-hmm. They're bigger
And
on, yeah,
yet we
connection.
did get
Yeah.
a happy ending. Like they come out of that supermarket and everything's fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Whereas at the end of Rogue, everyone's happy and safe and fine.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Again, that's the writing, because it was
Yeah.
the performances in Rogue. Because the performances in Rogue which justified that written end. Oh yeah,
Oh
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the writing and the performances were working in tandem. The
Yeah.
shark at the end, they're
Yeah.
trying to make money off this, appeal to the
Yeah.
American market. This is an R-rated, creature feature with heavy gore. All of
Yeah.
the other things they're saying, they're mid to nothing. Yeah. So if your kid's okay with a bit of, blood and guts, and it's nothing gratuitous, this isn't a Terrifier movie.
No.
If your kid's into creature features and has watched The Terminator, like show this to Dorian, who is starting to like this sort of thing and he's 10, then this would be perfectly fine to show. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, if your kid's, leaning towards that way. Yeah. And so kudos to the actors, because this could have been much worse. This could have been
Yeah.
definitely much worse in
Yeah.
less capable hands. Yeah.
Oh,
So
exactly.
very surprising that at 3.5, because when I heard like Bait 3D, I don't go into it flying piranhas and the killer tomatoes and such. Yeah, maybe I will. Who knows? Maybe I've always avoided them, is a better way to put it. I've never seen them. I've always avoided. But that's going to end because, as you can see, we do all sorts from Venom to a Serbian film.
Yeah,
Yeah, we cover
I'll
everything on here. Yeah. Cool. And I thank you for the views on the rest room reaction for Venom. Thank you for doing that there, Baron.
yeah,
If you haven't checked it out on YouTube, I gave it a little bit of an edit, so it's actually worth the watch as well. Yeah,
yeah.
for the minute and a
Oh
half.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You added some stuff to it, which is great. Thank you.
Yeah. And just some promo stuff about what we're doing with Splatfest and Evil Corp and that
Yep.
sort of thing. Shout out to all and sundry, of course. Anything you want to plug?
Uh,
Your end? Now that we're
Look, I'll
talking
always
about
plug
such things.
out. I'll always plug Improv Queensland, IFWG Publishing, which we're seeing at Supernova. I'll plug Supernova. What was your favorite kill of the film?
The float away kill.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It was good.
that is the
Yeah,
best one because I haven't seen it before. I didn't understand what was happening at first, and it actually disturbed me, unnerved me,
yeah,
and that's
yeah,
hard to do. It's
yeah,
hard to
yeah,
do when you watch movies like When Evil Lurks and Terrifier 3.
yeah,
Yeah, and a
yeah,
goddamn
yeah. It's
Serbian film.
something
You know what I
different.
mean? Yeah, yeah. So well done with that. Yeah, that's my favorite. Absolutely. What have I been watching? Wow, Baron. I've been doing I think they call it 31 on 31.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I've called it 31 horror films of October. That's like the sound of
yeah,
that better. And I'm up to about film 28 or 29, and I'm on
yeah.
30. Yeah, so I'm going to be, on the train coming home at night to get them in, but I'm almost there. And it's the first time because I'm going to pull it off, that I'm going to pull it off. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So along those lines, I've been watching the Michaels in my uh, deep dive of the franchise. I've done all the Fridays, so I'm into the Halloweens now.
Yeah.
So I watched the first two, and that's side A and side B of the
Hmm.
same night. Yeah, you could look
Sure.
at that like you look at Kill Bill 1 and 2, that those two movies, and I think they're both very good. They're not perfect. There are mistakes. Carpenter is not an infallible director. He's really cool, but he's not infallible.
Yeah.
There are mistakes, but then you get this Halloween 3. That's another. That's not a Michael Myers movie. I skipped it because I've already seen it, and that's an
Sure.
outlier.
Yep.
Um, and I've watched 4, 5, and 6. They're interesting films.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, have you seen them?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah.
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 Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course. Okay. Michael Myers. He's the shape. He's
Yeah.
basically shadow. Yeah.
Hmm.
And he's a slow, implacable force. He never stops
Yes.
coming. Jason, because these two were working in tandem, as not in tandem, putting out movies in parallel with each other in the
Hmm.
80s. Jason, he can appear anywhere. Yeah, that's his thing.
Yep.
Michael in the fourth one suddenly started popping, disappearing, reappearing like
Mhm.
Jason, and he drives a goddamn car.
Yep.
You get what I'm putting on the table? Yeah. That said, tonally, there's some really cool stuff. You have the potential of a great lore, just like you had in Friday with Corey Feldman's character.
Yep.
Yeah, I forget the name. Don't kill off Corey Feldman. Why did you get rid of what's her name? Danny, who plays Jamie, the actor. It's called Danny. I forget the last name. Sorry, I'm not good at recalling names at times, but also great kid actor, just like Corey Feldman really nailed that character. Yeah. And so you had two good, really kid actors in two franchises, and the potential with these very good actors to build up a very substantial lore, you know what I mean? And create a
Hmm.
a franchise with depth to it. Yeah. That didn't happen, of course. That didn't
Of
happen,
course.
of course. No, that didn't happen. By the time they get to 6, Curse of Michael Myers with Paul Rudd, it was like, okay. But I'm not hating on the franchise, though. I'm not hating on the
Sure.
franchise. That you've
That's
got to
good.
take, I think we all know you've got to take good parts from each movie to
Yeah.
create up a whole fandom for these things. Yeah, that's
Correct.
fair. And that's with Chucky and Freddy as well. Yeah, and I love both of those to death. Yeah, so yeah. So I've been watching those basically, and I'll just see if there's anything else that's worth mentioning. I've seen Terrifier 3 twice, of course, considering going to see it a third time this weekend. Yeah,
Okay.
with a friend. Shout out Kens, who has not. The Bat hasn't seen it yet. The Bat has not seen it
Ah,
yet. Yeah, that will do for now. I'll just leave it with Michael. Baron, what
okay.
about you? What about you?
I've been watching Teacup, which is getting better. It's
How
very
is
much like
it? How is it?
really good.
I know what
I'm
it
really
is. Yeah.
enjoying.
What is it? Tell the children.
Oh, okay. Let me hang on, but I will give before I'll get to that in a sec.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, go.
Um,
Yeah.
Nick Frost from Shaun of the Dead has made a couple of interesting films lately that I think people are going to really like. There's one called Svalta, which is probably known as Getaway
Okay.
in sort of English speaking land. It's about a family that goes to this weird Norwegian island that's full
Okay.
of Satan worshippers and stuff. Looks really interesting. So I'm looking forward to
Nice.
seeing that. And there's another one called Crazy House,
I've
which
heard of this
is
one. Yeah.
set in the set of a sitcom, and then a bunch of crazed Russian criminals take over the set, and there's like a whole bunch of murders and stuff happen, which looks really interesting. So now I don't want to spoil too much of Teacup because it
James
is
Wan's involved though. Yeah.
with Teacup.
Yeah. Producer,
Yeah,
I think.
I think so.
He's just a friend of the pod. Of course, we've covered many of his films on the iceberg. Winnell's Wolfman looks great.
It
Don't know
really
if you've
does.
watched. It really does, doesn't it? I'm very much looking forward to that. Nosferatu's on its way. Just button anytime. I'm just vamping while you're looking up stuff
Yeah.
there.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. So yes, no,
Um,
James Bond is one of the producers of Teacup.
yeah, yeah, cool. And there is it an anthology style?
No, no, it's a series.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's based on one story. So 6 episodes. And Robert McCammon, who was the author, has a writing credit on the series as well. So that means that it's at least sticking to the original storyline, probably a little bit closer than it would have been if they weren't. So the synopsis of this: trapped on a farm in rural Georgia, a group of neighbors must put aside their differences and unite in the face of a mysterious and deadly threat.
Okay. Okay.
Um, So the review that I can show, the review that doesn't really give too much away. Episode 1 was like all right, but by the end of episode 2, I was fully on board. The visual effects are wonderful and weird, not to mention terrifying, and it sort of removes any assumptions you have about who the antagonist is by the midpoint of episode 2. It leaves a bunch of questions and is frankly fascinating. Combination of wonderful acting and world building make it for a wild ride of a show. It's definitely leaving me wanting more, not because it's lacking in anything, but
Fantastic.
because it's consistently strange and unique.
Yeah, okay, I'm in. I'm definitely in. Sounds way better than a Ryan Murphy show. So yeah, I'm definitely in. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that chick ticks a lot of my boxes. Absolutely.
And I have Hysteria on my list, but I haven't started watching it yet. Yeah, that's me.
What
That's
um,
what.
what have we got out there? What we have? You've got your restroom reaction. We have Amityville. Give it a go. It's a good
Yes.
movie. It's a
Yeah,
classic. Yeah,
the classic.
did inform a lot of what
Classic.
we watch now. Certainly in terms of haunted house stuff. Definitely. If you like The Conjuring, and a lot of you did, thank you very much.
Mm,
Yeah, it pays a lot of tribute to. Yeah, so
it
please
really
do.
does.
Yeah, yeah. It's worth checking out. It is worth checking out. And so we're doing Martyrs on the Iceberg. That is, yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. That is
Okay.
one of my preferred extreme films. Absolutely. No, I'm
Not
quite a
not
fan of
like you were
that
looking
one.
forward to Salo or the Serbian
No,
film.
no, no, no. No, this is it's one of my favorite horror films. Martyrs
Okay,
is
good.
definitely in my top 20, if not 10. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's for our sicko children out there. Now, on the not so sick end, what are we doing next?
Did we say we were going to do Late Night with the Devil?
Yeah, sure, why not? Because we're pretty much doing whatever we want at the moment,
Yeah.
is the feel.
But
And
I mean, it was made in Australia.
sorry, say it
It
again.
was made in Australia.
It's absolutely very much so an Australian production, made in Adelaide.
Hmm.
I think largely it's just David. I can never say his last name. Is pretty much.
Desmouchian.
Thank you. Is American largest American contributing factor,
Yeah.
and I am a big fan of David. Big fan of the man. Count Crowley, my man, my man. That's why you're on the pod.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I want to get that. I want to get that comic. What do you like about Halloween, Baron?
Uh, I like as an adult about
Yeah.
Halloween that I can be silly. Um, and I can do things that I was not allowed to do as a child. So I'm gonna barrel the camera, which is something I really feel bad doing because I'm an actor. When I was a child, I wasn't allowed to do Halloween because my parents were worried that they would be embarrassed by me. So I saw
Oh.
E.T. at a very young age, and they had this wonderful scene where E.T. goes out into Halloween and sees Yoda, and I thought it was wonderful. And I bought from the Maryborough show a Dracula show bag. And the Dracula show bag had a shitty plastic cape, a one molecule thick Dracula medallion, and a pair of those hinged vampire teeth. And
Mhm.
God knows how I did it. I still had all of them in my possession when Halloween rocked around months later. And I was so desperately going to go out and trick or treat in Harvey
Mhm.
Bay in the 1980s
Mhm.
in this terrible Dracula costume. And my parents
Mhm.
stopped me from doing it because they were worried that they'd be embarrassed by me.
Yeah, I don't really like that. I don't really like that for you, Baron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but now you can. Now you can,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. And
Like I'm
you,
going to work. I'm going to work tomorrow dressed as Shaun of the Dead.
yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. And also that makes quite a bit of sense because you like to dress up in general. It's
Yeah,
kind of a
I do.
thing with you. Yeah, yes. Yeah, so good on you. Absolutely. Good on you. Um, yeah, so Halloween is just another excuse and another angle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But
It's my
not
religious
dis
holiday.
not discrediting your liking of spooky stuff. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You are on evil popcorn. Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. I like that. I like that. For me, it's definitely I get it. It's a legitimization as well. You know what I mean? Because yeah, you're allowed to be a freak, a spook, a
yeah,
ghoul, and really express that quite openly, and not worry about the fact that you've got black nail polish. And yes, I still feel self-conscious because yes, I still believe, and I'm pretty damn sure. Yeah, there's acceptance out there, but people are still some guys are still looking at you a bit sideways.
yeah,
When I'm
yeah,
briefing at Escape Manor, definitely some looking at the nails. Not
yeah,
what I'm doing with the
yeah,
locks, but looking at the nails. You know what I mean? But at Halloween, that's all let go. That
yeah.
is, yeah, that it's all let go.
Not
That's all let go.
Christmas.
And of course, I love all of this. I'm well into all of this, and I'm actually going deeper. I feel it there, Barrett. Other things are being let go and discarded. No, no, this isn't horror. I'm going deeper. I definitely think I've found my niche for a very long time, at the least. And the fact that I've got a podcast that is building up that I like doing with people that I like doing it, that bringing great different perspectives and tastes and that sort of thing. Yeah, very happy about it. Yeah, very happy about it. And I wanted to get bigger with people like Cade and Horror
Yeah,
Convention, Splatfest, and that sort of
yeah,
thing. And so we can properly celebrate Halloween in this country. We're
yeah.
getting there, but we don't have a spooky season yet. I want to help
No,
build a spooky season.
getting
Yeah,
closer.
we're getting closer. We're getting closer.
Yeah.
So happy Halloween, children of popcorn. Thank you. Love you very much, Mr. Popcorn. Mhm. What do you say to the children there, Baron, when we're all said and done?
I say, go to bed, children. Go to bed.
Yeah, otherwise there will be a tsunami and there won't be just a shark, it'll be a fucking octopus. Imagine that. That's when I was
Right,
watching the
sweet.
movie. Imagine if it was
Yeah,
a giant, Cthulhu fucking level octopus.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Whoa.